edition of Trackside. We go to Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin for the Small Car World Championships and also the O'Doul's October Classic. Then it's off to Rockford Speedway in Rockford, Illinois for the annual Bahama Bracket Nationals. We go into the archives of Franklin Racing Productions and spend some time talking with former Grand National driver and 1963 Daytona 500 winner Fred Lorenzen. All this and more on Trackside. Despite temperatures in the 40s and a light rain shower before the show started, nearly 100 small race cars came out for the chilled-to-the-bone fans that witnessed 3rd Annual Small Car Nationals at Lake Geneva Raceway. 8 divisions were here, drivers from 4 states. Of those drivers, 4 of them took clean sweeps in their divisions. Darnell Mepham in the 4-cylinder class, John Medham in the Wisconsin Sports Trucks, and Joe Mosier in the 2-cylinder Pro Karts, and Matt Kasorek in the Legends cars. Outlaws. Dave Shine slipped in front of the field for the first lap before second-time Chris Carlson shot in front after some lucky breaks. With the lap 8 caution, quick-timer Jim Vogler chased him all the way to the checker but fell short at the line as Carlson took the win, with Vogler at his side in second and Chris Bedore in third. Here's a top 10 finishers for the Rascal Outlaws in the Small Car World National Championships at Lake Geneva Raceway. The race was a 2-cycle GM Pro Karts, as Joe Mosier held off numerous challenges from Jay Goff, who races in both classes of karts. At the line, Mosier was ahead by just about the nose of his slick-looking kart. And this is the rest of the field for the 4-car, 2-cycle GM Pro Karts feature race. 4-cylinder larger karts, Josh Stahl delighted the crowd with his run to the top, winning the race just ahead of Jay Goff, who was runner-up again. Top 10 for the 4-cycle karts. The Wisconsin Allison Legacy Series feature brought the first career win here to Scott Nicholson. Jeff Goodwin was at his side in second, and Keith Toth was third. The top 8 finishers in the Wisconsin Allison Legacy feature. Ken Jones fought hard for victory in the Mini Cup main event, taking the win over Dave Sanez in the short but tight field. These are the 5 finishers in the Mini Cup main event. The visiting Northern Michigan Racing Association cars were again the quickest, as Gary Miller won the event. The top 6 finishers in the race. Matt Kasorek took just 3 laps to shoot in front, winning the Legend feature just in front of Kirk Knezik, as these two used lap traffic to their own advantage. Knezik led in the cluster of cars, but Kasorek outmaneuvered the runner up at the wire. This is the top 8 finishers for the Legends feature race. The Wisconsin Mini Sports Trucks ran 4 and 5 deep during their feature, as fast-time qualifier John Medham won the race ahead of Mike Schneider. Here we see the top 10 finishers in the Wisconsin Mini Sports Trucks. Penny Traxler, the only female driver in this division, finished in the 9th position. Veteran Darnell Mepham, who races at the Jefferson Speedway in the 4-cylinder class, had a good night, beating Rockford Speedway arch-rival George Sparkman in their heat and in the 20-lap feature. Smooth driving Jim Olson was the first truck to complete the race in 3rd place, with rookie sports truck driver Chad Phillips finishing 4th. And here we look at the top 10. After the race, track announcer Dale Erdman had the opportunity to speak with Darnell Mepham.
The Heaty was right behind you. A car like that runs at Rockford, is there something different about those cars?
Well, not really, other than those boys build the cars good down there. They build a really good chassis, and George ain't no slouch. I tell you, for me to win tonight with him here is a lot bigger plus, because normally when I come down here, the trucks, you know, I weigh a lot less, and to win there, I try to go really easy and not make any of them mad, because I'm a lot faster than them. But George, if he would have been in front of me, I had to get out first, because I think it would have been a tussle.
The show was marred by a lap 3 Heat 2 accident in the Legends cars. Kenosha County District Attorney John Banonis car got over the wheel of another car, then on his side and rolling 7.5 times and landing upside down in a water ditch. Jambonis was transported to Elkhorn Hospital for observation and a complete checkout and was later released. His car received extensive damage. The race fans thought Friday night was chilly. That wasn't compared to Saturday night, with a brisk northeast wind blowing into the grandstands. A good-sized crowd came out to watch nearly 200 cars that filled the pit area for the 9th annual Duels October Classic at Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. The fans saw some qualifying, heat races, the Wisconsin Mini Sports Trucks ran a complete show, and a clash of champions for the super late models. The sport truck feature got off to a rocky start as trucks spun in turn 3 before one lap could be completed. On the second restart, several trucks got together along the front straightaway going into turn 1. This brought out another caution and another restart. The third restart was clean, as quick timer John Medham, Robin Wassell, and Scott Bushman flew to the front. For the next 14 laps, Schneider and Medham diced for the lead, with Wassell and later Pete Zornick just waiting for any mistakes. At the checkered flag, only one truck was lapped, with Medham scoring a clean sweep of the action. Take a look at the top 8 finishers. Mike Schneider was second, Robin Wassell third, Peter Zorth fourth, Todd Verhagen fifth, Don Vixmer sixth, Greg Pitry seventh, and Scott Bushman finished in the 8th position. Jeff Storm slipped in front of the 20-lap clash field of 12 cars, with Rick Corso, Landry Potter, Al Schill, and Chad Barker looking at the front. Potter secured the first place by lap 5, with Conrad Morgan just in front of Schill, with Storm still second. Morgan and Schill got together on lap 11, stopping the intense pace. Schill, Morgan, and Chuck Duncan pitted, with only Morgan returning. Potter won the event, with Fran Preste nipping Storm for second. Shane Bishop was fourth, Conrad Morgan recovered for a 5th place finish, and Bobby Gash finished 6th. Unfortunately, for the first time in the 9-year history of the O'Doul's October Classic, the rain mixed with snow helped the officials cancel day number 3 of the state's largest paved track show. With over 200 cars in the pit area, it was hard for the officials to cancel the show. With over 200 phone calls between 11 a.m. and 12 noon, the race fans did not want to see the show be canceled. In 1983, I was able to spend some time in the trophy room of Grand National great Fred Lorenzen. He also won the 1963 Daytona 500. Let's go back and take a look at that interview right now.
Career in 1955, retired for the first time in 1967, then tried to come back in 1971.
Right there.
Right. So, how did you get your start in racing?
Well, it had started all in 1955 at Soldiers Field. I went down there to watch a buddy race, Jake Tallarico, and I was a nail pounder, a carpenter. He won $50 in about 10 minutes in the demolition derby. So I decided to try it the following weekend, and we both had tied for first place. We said we'd hit everybody else but each other, see. And then we built a short track car in the winter of '55 and brought it down there in 1956, me and the Tallarico brothers, and we won the season championship at Soldiers Field. We went on in '57 to race at O'Hare Field with the same car and won the championship. And then we wanted to get bigger, so in 1958 we bought a new '58 Ford from a local Ford dealer in Elmhurst and had Lou Miller, a County Line pizza man, sponsor us, helped us along with the money, and we went to USAC, joined USAC, and went to Milwaukee State Fair Park and won 3 out of the 4 fair races in '58. In '59, we did it again. We won the USAC National Driving Championship, so we got some money saved up, and we decided to go down south to Daytona with a '60 Ford, and we lost about everything we had down there.
Yeah, it's usually the story. So how'd you do your first time at Daytona?
Well, we finished 10th. We just decided we wanted to run and finish, but when you finish 10th, it costs a lot of money to run down there, and we headed back running some other races. We had stopped at Martinsville, and we were running second and leading it on and off, and we came in for a pit stop, but we weren't that sharp in the pits really then. You know, we were just beginners, and for water, we started to run hot, and one of the guys put some water in the gas tank by mistake. All of our cans were marked gas, but one of them had water in case we ever ran out of water. It was just a crazy thing that happened, but then it filled up a tank with water, and that put us out of the race. Then on the way from there, we went on to Atlanta, and we qualified 10th there, got up to 2nd, and the rear end went out, so we came home, and we lost everything we had. But then in the fall of 1960, I got a call from Holman Moody and Ford. If I wanted to drive their factory car for '61, so that was how it really all started in fall of 1960, I got the ride with Holman, Moody, and Ford.
So you drove Ford pretty much your entire
I drove
career.
Fords almost all the time. I retired in 67, went back in 71 in a Plymouth with Ray Fox and then with Granatelli. And, you know, we'd go back and forth. I was just out of it, I feel, too long. I just couldn't get everything working right. And we ran a while, and then I ran the Woods Brothers car once at Darlington. I was running good there, and I had lost it. And coming off a turn, we were one of the fastest cars there. But you got to stay with it, I guess. I was just out of it too long. Do miss it a lot.
Yeah. What is your biggest thrill in racing?
I'd say my biggest thrill was in 1961 and 1956, 57, when I was just starting up with demolition derbies and figure eights. I used to listen on the radio in the backyard in my tent. I used to sleep outside all night. And I'd listen to the Southern 500, Curtis Turner, Joe Weatherly, and Fireball Roberts. I thought, gee, if someday I couldn't come down there and race against them. So in 1961, when I got the ride with Ford in a convertible race, it ends up that we qualify in the pole, and that was, gee, it was just unbelievable. Who's on the outside of me? It's Curtis Turner. So here I am at Darlington qualifying ahead of Turner, who was my big god, and Fireball Roberts. He was on the second row inside. And it just so happened during the race where Alpha told me, you got to watch Turner, he's tough. And at the end, came right down to the wire, but Moody really helped me win it, just giving me pit signals to use my head, and we passed Turner on the last lap and won it. That was in early 61. That was probably my biggest one, I'm sure. 1961, the Rebel 300.
How many races did you win in your career, roughly?
To be honest, Darrell, I don't know. In NASCAR, I think about 38 or 40. I was the first one to win $1 million, crack the $1 million record. I was the first one to win at every super speedway in the South, but now, you know, rules are broken. Not rules, but records get broken fast. $1 million now in race cars is hardly nothing anymore.
You were at the time, weren't you the only northern boy in
I was the only
Southern
northern
sport?
boy, but now there's other ones.
Yeah.
But I do miss it a lot.
Yeah, you won the race, the Meadowdale International Raceway. I know most of our viewers are very familiar with that racetrack since it's from our area. Would you like to tell us a little bit something about that race?
Well, I guess they had a sports car race there the weekend before, and Lance Reventlow, I think it was, or Chuck Day, his partner, and we went out there with the stock cars. We had come right from Milwaukee. And I had gone out there, weeks and weeks, you know, a week before, and looked at the track, and we tried to figure gear ratios, and I talked to Reventlow and Day about gears and everything, so we had a pretty well down pat on the gears, and we had the right transmission for it, and I guess that's why we did pretty good at it. But it's a tough track, a lot of turns. You had to know the spring combination, everything, and I got a lot of dope from that Skate-Rap team that won the race the weekend before that.
161 cars and drivers from 7 different states qualified for the 8th annual Bahama Bracket Nationals at Rockford Speedway in Rockford, Illinois, split by their qualifying times into 4 brackets: the Quad A, the Triple A, the Double A, and the A bracket. Each car had heat races on Saturday night for their qualifying positions for Sunday's feature. Also on Sunday was the last chance race and a consolation races. The winner of each feature had a choice of $750 cash or a trip to the Bahamas. All the drivers decided to take the cash. 5 laps of the A feature, and was black flagged for breaking out of his bracket limits. That gave the front spot to Scott Dolliver. He surrendered the lead to Don Ackerman in lap 10. 2 circuits later, Ackerman broke out, giving the command position to Derek Dobbs. The action was slowed as Kelly Powers, who was having a good strong move to the front, hit the inside retaining wall. The 1999 Women on Wheels champion for the Rockford Speedway escaped injury, but her car was done for the day. Derek Dobbs would do battle with Tom Flippo and Frank Vandenberg. The final laps. Coming down to the checker, Dobbs and Vandenberg were side by side with Flippo right on the Dobbs rear bumper. Vandenberg looked to be a little stronger, but as they hit the line, Flippo slammed to the back of Dobbs' mount, giving the leader the added momentum to take the win by a matter of inches. The top 5 finishers in the A bracket feature race was Derek Dobbs, Frank Vandenberg, Tom Flippo was 3rd, Jim Olson was 4th, Dan Sander finished 5th.
For you here at the Speedway this afternoon. Obviously a good field to compete with, and you were being challenged for that lead throughout the entire 50 laps. Somebody was knocking on your door.
Had to watch that clock.
And plus you were racing against that clock, a very important opponent. Obviously, you know, it's one that you just don't see every time.
Brian Franks of Central City, Iowa, a hobby stock regular at the Hawkeye Downs Raceway, won the AA bracket feature. Frank started in the second row and lap 4 took over the front position. He survived 3 cautions for minor incidents and a last-minute challenge from Chad Chain for the win. The top 5 finisher. Brian Franks was first, Chad Chain was second, Butch Wood was third, Jim Robinson fourth, and Scott Gardner finished in the 5th position.
Nice run. You seem to, you were in the groove all weekend long. I made the comment up in the tower area that the 06 had a good weekend, and certainly that held true throughout this 50-lap feature event. You came home the winner.
Yeah, it was real tough because with 25 laps to go, I lost my brakes, so I had to really let out a lot sooner than I was used to, and then try to feather it through the corners, and it worked.
You certainly did an outstanding job to run the last 25 laps with no brakes. You had to do a lot of feathering with the throttle and let the momentum of the car slow down as you scrubbed off speed. You did a great job, son.
Thank you.
In the AAA feature, Cambridge, Wisconsin driver Roger Stevenson started on the pole and took the initial lead. The Jefferson Speedway regular held the front spot until lap 12 when Scott Delsing of Iowa City, Iowa took command. 5 circuits later, Roger was back in control and he would stay there until lap 32 when the Iowa racer who had been dodging the leader was back in front. The 2 drivers running almost side by side got together in turn number 3, sending Stevenson into a spin. He was hit by Bob Coydle out of Cary, Illinois. The lead was still Delsing's, and he appeared to have everything under control until 3 laps from the checkered, when on a restart for a minor spin, he appeared to lose power, turning the lead over and the win to Mike Serena of Gardner, Illinois, who had been running second since lap 36.
Michael Serena in the 75 is leading.
See Mike Serena taking the checkered flag. As we take a look at the top 5 in the AAA bracket. Mike Serena was first, Don Johnson second, John Paul Odegaard was third, Randy Redding came in 4th, Randy Weiss finished in the top 5.
With 3 laps to go and that last caution flag, you were able to make up some ground. What kind of went through your mind there as you knew you had one more final shot at the leader?
Well, I talked to the guy that's been helping me for about 10 years, my nephew. And he said, no, let's go on the high side. Let's go on the high side. All right. I'm going on the low side, right? He goes, yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
So a little bit of help, but then again, not a whole lot of help from your pit crew.
As the late autumn sun started to shine at the start of the Quad A feature race, Keith Cirkowitz of Blue Island started on the front row and took the lead on the opening green. By lap 22, Al Papini of McChesney Park, Illinois, coming from a 16th starting spot, worked his way into the lead. The race was red flagged for this incident going into turn 1. As 2 cars came together, a full-body stock car climbed upon a modified. Al Papini and the second-place car were involved in the incident, but both cars were able to keep on going. Neither driver was injured, and these 2 cars were done for the day. Al Papini, who started his racing career at the Rockford Speedway, High Bank quarter-mile oval, held on to take the win. This is his 3rd win in a row in this event. He's also the 1999 Big Bud Shootout champion here at the Rockford Speedway. Brad Carson from Bourbonnais, Illinois came in 2nd. Jim Swan from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin was 3rd. Louis Pastorez from Chicago, Illinois was 4th. And Mark Anderson from Minneapolis, Minnesota came home in the 5th place position.
Well, Al, kind of let's recap the past 50 laps. First of all, I'll make my comments in reference to it, then I'll have yours. As I say, during the early part of the race, I noticed you just kind of were biding your time, letting the field sort out. You kind of take an easy pace for at least the first 15 laps.
Really, I was running about as hard as I could go. If guys weren't giving me any slack, it was pretty tough. I run her pretty good right off the bat, and then at the end, I was trying to be cautious. This corner down here, Darrell Williams was on the radio guiding me through here every lap. I couldn't see down here because of the sun. And
that was my next comment. The sun obviously playing a a very heavy part going into turn number 1 there. And that mishap there also right in front of you as well.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think the same situation happened to him. He couldn't see where he was going or whatever. But
The 22nd annual Run What You Brung was held at Lake Geneva Raceway in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin on October 9th. The fans who came out for ideal weather saw Skip Martin from McHenry, Illinois in a UMP late model, a regular run at the LaSalle Speedway in LaSalle, Illinois, set fast time and win the feature. Williams paced the field for just 1 lap before Chad Ross got the lead for the next 5 laps. From Island Lake, Illinois, he started midway through the feature field, moved to the front. Mike Cooey, a regular driver in the McHenry Limo Superstock division here at the Lake Geneva Raceway, and a car he purchased just earlier in the week over the internet, held on to take the victory in the feature race for the D-Class of the Run What You Brung. The top 5 finishers in the D-Class division. Mike Cooey was first, Chad Phillips second, Todd Ross third, Jim Olson came in fourth, and the 5th place went to Matt Nickel. Dale Erdman had the opportunity to speak with Mike Cooey.
184.
You know, I found it in about the middle of Wisconsin. It was kind of odd. I found it on the internet, went and checked it out, and I kind of liked the car, and I bought it. So I got a good deal on it, obviously.
What kind of car is it again?
It's an 81 Camaro. It's a Lions Club Sportsman car.
You're winning the D-Class cars, and that car looks real well. What are you going to do, try to sell it?
I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll save it for Run What You Brung again next year.
Scott Peterson jumped out in front in the C-Main with Dan Huber at his side. Had just taken over the lead before Shane Bishop and Chris Hunick tangled, bringing out the first of 2 caution flags. Huber had kept the top spot until Jeremy Chess dropped to the inside to take over the lead. Didn't take long for John Mackey, another Antioch driver, to pull into 2nd place right next to Dan Huber. John Mackey and Jeremy Test ran side by side for several laps for the next caution for a small fire in the pits. When the racing resumed, these 2 were side by side at it once again. As you see on the last lap, they exchanged the lead several times. John Mackey on the inside and Jeremy Test on the outside. Jeremy Test looking for his first feature career. Coming out of the 4th turn, it could have been anybody's race. As they crossed the line, it was John Mackey in front, Jeremy Test was second. Here's the top 5 finishers. In the C-Class, John Mackey, Jeremy Tess, Jim Holsinger, Dan Huber finished 4th, and Greg Peterson came home in the 5th place position. In the B feature was Todd Peterson, taking the lead on the green. He held the lead for several laps till Marty Robb moved to the outside to take over the top spot, with Peterson and Jim Ime tussling for 2nd place. Jim Ime and Marty Robb ran side by side, with Ime taking over the 1st place spot. Marty Robb inched ahead once again. Marty Robb and Jim Ime ran side by side for several laps until Bart Reinen in the number 6 late model, a regular at the Jefferson Speedway, worked his way to the front, dropped to the inside and taking over the lead from Marty Robb going into turn 1. Fantastic move down the front straightaway by Bill Dreyfall as he moves into 3rd place position. Try to catch up to Marty Robb and Bart Reinen. Bart Reinen holds on to the 1st place spot throughout the entire rest of the race and takes the victory. The top 5 finishers in the B feature was Bart Reinen, Bill Dreyfall, Steve Coyle, Jerry Freeman, and Marty Robb came home in the 5th place position. Dale Erdman spoke with Bart Reinen in Victory Lane after the race.
It's the first time you've been out with that car this year.
Yeah, that's right. We'd like to race that car more, but there just doesn't seem to be enough time to get it out and to get everything done.
Last, how many years have you been racing up at Jefferson?
We've been back there about 6 years now. Last 6 years we've been there full time.
Your 30 lap got off to a rocky start as Joe Fisher and Pat Haney tangled. On the restart, Mike Simon Jr. and Jeff Bollendorfer got together in turn 3. Mike Simon Jr.'s night was finished. Restart, it was Mike Simon Sr. taking the lead with Terry Patnoe right behind him in 2nd place. Several cars battled out for position right behind him. Andrew Potter was on his way to the front along with Danny Darnell. Didn't take long for Danny Darnell to assume the top spot. Skip Martin is dirt UMP late model, who slowly worked his way through the field, was running in third, followed closely by Landry Potter. Andy Darnell and Skip Martin came down the front straightaway, side by side. They touch a little going into turn one, and Skip Martin takes the lead. Darnell tried in vain to take over the top spot from Skip Martin. These two wing wanders came out of turn four, and Skip Martin took the victory. As we take a look at the top 5 finishers in the A main for the Run What You Brung, Skip Martin was first, Danny Darnell was second, Landry Potter came home third, Joe Fisher was fourth, and Larry Cerletta rounded out the top 5. This is Darrell Franklin. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Trackside. Till next time, we'll see you later.